live walkthrough and drunk through episode part 1. Let's watch the intro. Oh, I am so excited. Been looking forward to this since like November of last year. That's the whole reason I picked up a PlayStation 4 was to be able to play this as soon as it came out. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit differently than the prior walkthroughs that I did for Shadow of War and The Surge and whatnot. What I'm going to do, because this game is set up to lend itself to doing mission by mission, so what I'm going to do generally is to do a live Let's Play for each mission and work my way through. As I finish a region, I'm going to go back and do a walkthrough video showing you where to find all of the Kodama and how to beat the boss and so on and so forth. Giving you tips along the way and everything like that. But I'll be playing through drunk and live for the first go around. But for this first video, because I kind of messed around with the menus and know what to expect from the tutorial, I will count this one as part of the walkthrough, and then we'll branch off, right? So I'll do sort of a series of the Let's Play videos, the drunk through, and then I'll come back and circle back later and do the walkthrough videos and the guides. So to get into it, a couple of things that I want to highlight before we get going, and bear with me here. I'm about 3 beers in, and they're all 7.5%. I don't know if you've ever had it before, but the Troeg's Java Head Stout, it's damn good stuff. Try it if you haven't already. So I'm about 3 beers in, and I might ramble a little bit, but first off, if you're playing this, you probably want to play in action mode. The game is really intense, and you need quick reaction time, so I would recommend that. Basic game settings. Sort of the key here is, so for me, I do tend to like having the display values on life gauge, key gauge, so on and so forth. Also, you want to make sure you've got the maximum number of icons set to 12, so you can see all of them, what's going on your character. And I believe that was about it, yeah, for this one. You can also turn off your headgear, so you don't have to see your helmet if you don't want to. You can see the beautiful face that you've crafted in the character creator. You can also see, I leave the subtitles on. I've also set language settings to English, and the reason for that is because I do speak Japanese, and I often find that what people are saying in Japanese and what the translation is in English for the subtitles is different. Sometimes vastly different, and sometimes a little bit different. And so I find myself getting distracted with that rather than enjoying the game. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to play it on English. Up to you But if you do want to have the Japanese voiceover, then you can set it here. That's where you find it. You have to be in the system menu on the main title screen in order to do that. I've seen some people on Reddit get all confused and angsty over not being able to hear the Japanese. That's how you do it, folks, right here. And then, let's see. So we also want to do for menu settings. For me, anyway, I always set the number of item shortcut sets to 4, and that's based on what I had set up in Nioh. So I'm going to be running a ninjutsu onmyo build, which means I'm going to need a lot of shortcuts to use all of my abilities. So I would recommend setting that to 4. I'm also colorblind, so I've decided to go with this rarity color pattern. So if the colors that you're seeing for your item quality levels is not matching up with mine, this is why. Right here, this setting, it makes it easier for me to see what the different qualities of tier of the gear are that I'm picking up. So I set it on this one. Feel free to set it how you want. The other one that's really good to kind of, and it's just a quality of life thing that I am so glad that they actually changed this, is, where is it? One of these has the setting such that you automatically use any of the hair that you get, so it gives you extra onmyo. Maybe it's over here. Yeah, automatically use acquired locks of hair. So I'm turning that on. So every time you pick up like an onmyo, famed onmyo mage lock of hair or whatever to give you more onmyo skill points to use, it'll automatically use that, so you don't forget and you don't miss out on the skill points until you happen to go through your inventory later. So great quality of life improvement over the original Nioh. For audio settings, I hope the audio is okay. I've got it set kind of low, but if you guys end up having problems hearing me, please let me know and I'll try and adjust it on one of the later episodes. For controls, I like Control Scheme B because that gives you the R1 and R2 strong attack and quick attack. It works out well for dodge and dash and guard, and then also your burst. Yokai burst attack is triangle and circle, which makes it kind of convenient because you've got all of your sort of guarding effects down there on your buttons. So I recommend that one. Feel free to use what you want. Other than that, I think we're ready to get into it. So we'll start off first with the character creation.
Once upon a time, a giant man with horns appeared in a distant village. The villagers welcomed him with joy, believing he brought blessings from the spirit world. However, as time went by, they began to fear him. Tormented by the villagers, he began to attack them. Until he came to be dubbed a demon. One of the village youths decided to make a stand. He gathered a multitude of golden stones, 4 wait to see how our child turns out. All I know is that there will be no limit to their potential.
I don't know about you guys, but I think our mom is kind of hot. Is that wrong? I mean, it's a game after all. So I've already set up a few sort of looks. I'm gonna go with character 5 here. So I created this guy. Um, hey, he looks pretty good. Kind of a Western, you know, rough and ready type. Looks like he's ready to kick some ass on some yokai. Thought about playing Nibinel here, but man, she is just too hot for you guys. And I want to focus on the combat and not get distracted, and she kind of reminds me of an ex-girlfriend, so we're just gonna move on using the male tune, which is what I usually use anyway. But a couple of the things that you want to focus on here, or pay attention to. So, believe if you look at, for example, weight. So it's not just that you can adjust this slider, right? If you actually click into it, you can choose which body parts that you want. So if you want to have a smaller chest, bigger arms and legs, you can do that. So a lot of these you can actually go into like changing muscle definition for a specific body part. So I don't think a lot of people pick up on that, right? Like some you can't go into, like this chest size. And the way you can tell which menus let you go into additional options are they sort of have that little extra thing on the side there. So like this one doesn't have that, this one does. So that tells you which ones you can go into additional options for. But I'm happy with the way that this one looks. And after all, it is important to look one's best on the battlefield. So I'm going to go with this one. And if you guys want that code, here we go. I will generate the code for you. Let's see. No, not input. There we go. So if you want to use this as a base, then you can go ahead and get it. It's this one here, WBW, add Z, big W, 7, big C, QU, big K, T5. Right, and so we can share that. And we're good to go. So for any of you, who do watch this later, if you want to use that as a base, you can. But I'm pretty pleased with that look, so we're going to get into the tutorial now.
Grow up to be strong, won't you?
I will, Mom. And here we are in the tutorial level. Be sure to grab your Amrita there, so that'll give you Amrita memories. If you go into here for Amrita memories, it tells you, so if you miss a tip or whatever, it'll pop up in here so you can review it later. Hold X to dash. If you do want to go back to the character creation, you get out here and you go, oh my god, it looked good in the character creator, but my dude looks hideous. Like, this is where you go. Peer into the water, and then you'll be able to go back to character creation. But I'm happy, so I'm just going to move on. Now, for both the playthrough and the walkthrough, I'm going to be using the same character. And because of that, I'm going to start out with a build that is focused on ninjutsu and omnio. Now, there are a lot of good weapons, and I'll probably be playing around with those in New Game Plus and beyond. But for now, we want to choose Kusarigama because that gives us +1 to dexterity, which is your ninjutsu skill. And quick attack obviously is R1, strong attack R2. Kusarigama also has a really good quick attack for the heavy attacks, and that's the same heavy attack, quick attack as in the original Nioh. And that's really good at kind of stunning enemies and just letting you do all kinds of damage. So I like that move. We're also going to get the Switchglaive, which is a new weapon for Nioh 2. And that'll give us +1 to magic. It's also got a good moveset, good reach, all around decent weapon. And I've noticed that with the full gold game, they've actually bumped it up in terms of DPS a bit in scaling. So it's even more effective now. So we can switch and use that if we want. Good moveset all in all. Now, the next thing to note is, I believe this one here, you don't want to choose this one because you will get this Guardian Spirit not too far into the game. So you want to choose either between the Fierce Wolf or the Dark Phantasm. And because we're doing an Omeo build, I'll get the extra magic point, and I'm going to go for this Guardian Spirit. So Guardian Shift is circle and R2. And if you want to exit out of the Guardian Spirit, then you can just do L1 and circle. So go ahead and go through the tutorial really quickly. So this is just basically teaching you the combat basics, not a big deal. Just do one quick attack, one strong attack, and you're good. Amazing, it's a Souls-like, you can attack in it. Now this is for guarding and for dodging. So once you guard and you dodge, you can kill it. For this, basically, you're just going to want to, switch to high stance, kill him. Switch to low stance, kill him. And switch to mid stance and kill him. Now the trick with this one is you just need to make sure you get rid of his stamina and then you go in for a grapple, which is R2 using the controller scheme that I mentioned earlier. So you gotta deplete his ki. Now for this, you just need to do ki pulse. So for ki pulses, and I'll do it again because I was pretty quick, you'll see as I do a move, my middle bar there, the ki gauge, goes down a little bit. You want to wait, if you're looking at your character, you can see there's sort of these glowy things that coalesce around him. You want to make sure that you hit L1 after you see that big glow there. So around him, that's the optimal point that'll give you the maximum ki back. The later samurai skills, then that'll let you actually gain more ki back if you do a stand or if you change weapons. Pulse is huge in this game. It's how you get you keep yourself in the fight and you're able to continue dodging. Ki pulse also lets you get rid of the point, and you'll get rid of the dark realm, the yokai realm. Now, burst counters are a new addition from Nioh 1 to Nioh 2. Depending on which Guardian Spirit type you're using, so there's Brute, Feral, and then Mage. I forget what the last one is called, but it's the one I'm using now. They all work out a little bit differently, right? So, like Brute, you can go ahead and do the Key Pulse anytime. For this one that I'm using, you have to wait kind of for the last second, and then you'll be able to do the yokai or the burst counter, you know, as sort of a parry from the Dark Souls games, right? With the Brute, you can actually, as soon as they flash red, you can do the burst counter anytime you want. And then for Feral, you need to make sure that their attack actually hits you as you're doing the burst counter. So they all play a little bit differently, and it's up to you which one you like most after you get into the game, but I'm going to stick with this one for now. So we've got a full Amrita gauge now, so you can see it's kind of glowing up there on the left with your Guardian Spirit signal there, or insignia there. And that just lets you transform. So it's like living weapons from the first one. And if you get an enemy out of key and they go down, then you can do a grapple in this new yokai form, right? Whoop. So he's down, do a grapple. And that'll do a ton of damage for you. Now with Yokai Shift Phantom, yeah, that's what it's called, right? I couldn't remember. So with Phantom, there's two ways to sort of do this sort of strong attack staggering, right? So the first way is to hold L2 and do R1. That is going to teleport you to them. The other way is to do R2, R2, and then R1 combo. So I'll show you both really quickly. This is L2 R1 or L2 R2. So that just takes me to him. Also, I can do R2, R2, R1. And that'll also pull you to the enemy. So it's pretty handy. Then if you want to get out of Yokai Shift, you can just hold L1 circle. And that is it for this tutorial. Point out a couple of things in the main overworld. right, so you can see we've got a Divine Branch. In general, you do not want to use the Divine Branch. I'm assuming we'll get Hemorrhogi branches later, which lets you go back out to this main map without losing your Amrita. If you use the Divine Branch, you're going to lose your Amrita, so you probably don't want to use it most of the time. Now, we could jump in straight into the mission here, the Village of the Cursed Blossoms. But we're not going to do that yet. We're going to go to the starting point because that lets you do stuff like check out your hut. So your hut is kind of a new thing. You can change your appearance at any time if you want. This is also where you can access your storehouse. So if you want to swap stuff between your inventory and your bank effectively, then you can do that here. Then you can manage your equipment set, so you can set up different equipment sets, so you can swap between them pretty easily. And you can also do stuff like read up on Guardian Spirit illustrations and enemy illustrations when you get them. Also, you can review Tale of the Nioh. So if you want to watch any of the cutscenes that you've already seen, if you skip through them, then you can go back and watch them here. You can also, as you kill stuff in the game, you'll get the ability to have them visit you. So I'm going to set Kagewani here as my visitor, and he'll kind of hang out in the hut with me. Later on, we'll get hanging scrolls, tea utensils, and other huts. The shrine is also important. This is where you level up. You can also change your guardian spirit when we get later. There will be other abilities that we open up soon too. But the important one at this point in the game really is boons. So for everybody who pre-ordered, this is where you claim your pre-order items. And because I pre-ordered the full deluxe version, I've got 2 armor sets and sets of weapons and the associated smithing texts. So I can grab those now before I go into the mission and go ahead and equip them. And you can see I got a bunch of stuff, including weapons. So I'll replace my Kusarigama as well as my Switchglaive. We don't have any ranged weapons yet, but we did get 2 sets of armor. Now, the problem with the Demon Horde armor set, which is actually, it's got kind of better stats overall, is that it's heavy. So for now, what I'm going to use is the first Samurai helmet set. So that'll give us better keyguard recovery, bullseye bonus, and active skill damage. So it's a good set to start off with. The Demon Horde is actually a little bit better. So faster key recovery whenever you get Amrita. Defense bonus when you have your Amrita gauge, and you increases your attack when you do a yokai shift, and you're able to drain life. The problem with it though is that it's just heavy, right? And I don't have the stamina yet that will allow me to be able to equip that. So I am going to go with this set for now, and then when I level up a little bit later, I might switch over to the other one. Now, for me, I'm going to equip the Kodama Netsuke and the Sudama Netsuke. That'll give me Kodama Sense and Treasure Sense, so I won't miss anything. Not going to be doing much lightning damage, but it also gives higher item drop rate, which is kind of handy. So we'll use those 2 for now, and we're good to go for gear. Now with the dojo, you've already got 2 missions to do, so I'm going to go ahead and run us through those missions in just a little bit. Tori Gate will show up, and this is your ability to kind of help other players with a mission. So you can go do an expedition, you jump into another player's game and help them out. So for now, though, we're going to jump into the basic actions and the training ground. And this will get all of the early tutorial stuff out of the way. And this is basically just a rehash of what we already just did. And as you're going through here, just get in the habit of doing your key pulse every time you see that flash of light around your character. Just do it. Just do it every time. You'll thank me later. Whoop. Didn't get the grapple in. There we go. Now you can see I missed the burst counter there, which kind of sucks. Missed it again. It's tricky with this one. You got to get the parry timing just right. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. So just like a parry in the Dark Souls games, you got to get it timed in a very tight window. Basically right when the attack is about to hit. But get good at those because you'll see them all of the time. And you can actually burst counter with this too. So when you're in Yokai Shift, you can still go ahead and burst counter. Always useful. Now, the reason why we're doing all of the dojo missions is because as you play through the game, you're going to get more dojo missions, and in order to access them, you have to have completed the previous ones. So you want to make sure every once in a while you check the dojo, see if there's any new missions, and if there is, then go ahead and do them. Now this is kind of nice. You can train yourself. I mean, you can leave immediately if you want to, but you can train yourself against the different enemy types. So for example, this is a skeleton warrior. Go ahead and get used to his moveset, figure out where his blind spots are and the opportunities to attack. fight a ninja. Ninjas are a little bit more tricky. And you can't die in here, so it's a good place to test kind of each of these guys out, right? And if you want to test yokai abilities, you can go ahead and do that. You'll notice when I was killing him, um, it automatically dispels the yokai realms that they drop. So the yokai shift is really handy. There we go. And you notice as you absorb Amrita in your yokai shift, then you get more of your gauge back, right? So if you pick those up, you continue on into yokai shift and you don't need to lose it. And I think that is all of them, right? That was the yokai. Dweller we got. Warrior we got. I think that's it. We're good to go. If you wanted to get more Amrita gauge, then you can just jump over there and get it. But that's it for the training ground. So we have completed it. And you can see dojo is now done for both of those. So we'll get more dojo missions later. If you ever see a notification, a little exclamation point there, you want to head into the dojo and do those missions immediately, if you can. The other thing that I want to do... Trying to remember where it is. Change your appearance. Oh yeah, transform. So this is where you can transform to William. If you want to, you'll get other characters you can transform into later. But if you want to play as one of the other characters from the first game, here's William, the protagonist for the Nioh, the original Nioh. Or you can do your original appearance, but yeah, this is where you do that. Should be able to unlock more as we go through the game. But for now, I'm going to stop this episode here, and when I come back, we will head into the village of the Cursed Blossoms on the Drunk Let's Play. And I'll come back after we finish this whole region off, after the Let's Play, and I'll show you where to get all of the Kodama. So I'm going to have to remember, despite drinking, don't pick up the Kodama when I see them. And it's a habit that I just have now from playing the original Nioh. So we'll see if I can actually stick to that and exercise some self-discipline and awareness, despite the drinking. But every time we find a Kodama, as we're playing through the Let's Play, I am going to take a drink. So we'll see how far I make it as we're going through this region. But we'll see you back in a bit. Thank y'all for watching.